Okay, there is another initiative up. Who wants to recap last session? Come on, earn your initiatives. Work for it.
I think
Jackson
I,
did it last
I think
time.
I
Someone
remember.
else. Okay, Alice, you go for it.
Right. So we woke up in the morning. Uh, oh, what's his name? The weird guy. I got it written down.
The guy from the guild.
Yeah, his name was Where have I put it? I've got a shopping list.
His name was Sapling. I'll just give that one to you.
Oh, it's yeah, I read over that. Yeah. So Saplin took us to a very nice restaurant where we met Goblin Benny, who told us he had a job for us in the Upper District, where we're meeting a lady in a nice red dress. I believe she was a moon elf. Or was I thinking of someone else?
No, he didn't give a race.
No, the moon elves for later on. Yeah. We then left to go do a job for the lady who told us to go to the shrine of suffering to kill a weird bug. We killed that. Uh, took its corpse to the magic shop where Jackson made a magic contract to get a nice suit of armor. Where we got given two more jobs. One to go see Madame Shuther, I think it was Shuther.
Eva.
Where'd I get that name from, man?
Yeah, you
She
were
is a
real far
seer.
off.
Yeah. Uh, to go see it to give her some. I think it was a crystal ball we were meant to go give her.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's given that to you. You have that in your
Yeah, and
possession.
we'll find her in the Wide, which is like a marketplace, right?
Yeah, so there's like a big open area that's it's supposed to be in the upper city, where every morning stalls get set up and people from like merchants from outside of Baldur's Gate, inside Baldur's Gate, they all sell their wares. Yeah,
Ah,
so where we left,
and then we had the job to go see the Moon Elf in Candlekeep. That's the Moon
yes,
Elf bit. I'm looking at my notes.
yeah, perfect.
Should have just done
So
that.
yeah, give yourself an inspiration there,
Oh, I will.
Ellis.
Thank you.
So yeah, where we left off, you were leaving Riverlands. The sun is kind of setting. It's not quite night yet. It's kind of late evening. It's one of those like nice winter evenings where there's like a pastel blue fading into an orange. It is just as it is in real life. It's kind of the middle of winter in game. No clouds. All of the kind of grey weather has kind of dissipated. And you're walking back towards the Elf Song Tavern. There's a chill in the air. It's not too pleasant outside, but it looks nice. Um, yes, you get back to the Elf Song. You open the door, and the first thing you're greeted with is kind of a polite nod from the two bouncers. You see Clank and Schooner, the animated armor, and the half ogre, who kind of say a passing greeting as you enter. Uh, you notice the tavern is a little bit busier tonight than it was the previous night. Um, so Samura, you actually recognize some of the people in here. You see at one of the central tables in the tap room, you see a group of about 7 or 8 people. People meaning of all races. You recognize them as the crew of the ship that brought you
Captain
here at Baldur's
Automates.
Gate. Yeah, so you see this dark, almost like light grey skinned rock gnome in like a captain's uniform. She's got like a big tricorn hat, and she's standing on a table and she's singing a shanty with one of the crewmen. They're all kind of like banging their mugs and singing. It's quite loud as you enter, and as she kind of goes, she kind of like leans over and like takes in a deep breath as she like sees you walking in, and she goes, "Look who it is, lads!" and kind of puts a hand up and kind of jumps off the table. One of her men kind of gives her a hand as she hops down, and she approaches you. The others are looking, but they're just kind of sitting at the table. And she says, "We weren't sure if you'd still be in the city, lad. We thought you'd be off to Candlekeep by now."
Well, I ran into a couple new friends. This is
Oh,
Ufa and Anya, as I point to them, and we're just doing a couple jobs, making ends meet, getting ourselves well equipped for the next journeys.
oof. She kind of like she looks a bit. She kind of looks relieved. And some of the you see some of the crewmen kind of like nodding at each other. And she says, "Well, in honesty, lad, we were supposed to head back yesterday, but we put off our trip a day just to make sure you were settling in all right. We weren't sure if you'd still be here, but it's good. I'm good to see you've got some extra protection. It's never safe to go alone. Not here in Baldur's Gate, anyway. Well, yeah. Uh, Half elf. What was your name again? And the Alan, who you know fairly well at this point, he kind of like he seems quite happy because these guys seem to be drinking like a lot, so he seems to be making a lot of moolah of these guys. He's like another round, bruh, and he kind of fetches over, and she says, "Oh, please, any friend of Sammy's is a friend of ours. Can we drag one of these tables over?" And Alan does like a polite nod as he's tapping some more ale, and they drag two of the tables together. She's gonna she kind of leans in and she says, "I know you're only 4, but do you drink, or is that I don't know how it works."
Hi. It's not something I do often, but I'm sure I can give it a go.
I've got just the thing, lad. I've got just the thing. And she skitters off, and she kind of like jumps on one of the stools at the bar and kind of leans over it. Cause if she was to stand under the bar, she wouldn't even like reach the platform. And Alan kind of nods and starts looking around. You see, he puts 3 glasses on the counter. He pours in a few bottles, like he mixes. He looks like he's mixing a few things together. He kind of lines the rim of the glass with this powdery sugar, and he puts the 3 in front of each of you. And she says, "Enjoy, it's on me." And she flings some coins at Alan at the bar.
I'll turn and go, thank you, and Renfa, make sure Armagh lets you back in without any payment.
Aye, no. Again, I want to reiterate that we owe you plenty for striking that deal with that foul, dirty beast. We appreciate it endlessly. He robs us every time we're trying to get out of that damn's harbour. So we really appreciate it. Whenever you need us, lad. You understand?
Yes, thank you.
She kind of claps you like someone might clap you on the shoulder. She just claps you on like the calf because she's like 2 feet tall, and then scutters back off the group. So yeah, she leaves you with these 3 interesting looking drinks. You can go. You can choose to sit with them if you like, or you can go and do your own thing. Irfa has a private booth in his bedroom. There's these guys down at the tap room. There's a multitude of places, or you guys can choose to go to bed or do anything else you like. Does anyone else have any? Where would you guys like to go first of all?
What time is it at the minute?
It's not late. It's just dark because it's a winter. It's probably about, let's say, about 6.
I'll turn to these 2 and go, so they're my friends, but you know, I don't mind if we want to sit somewhere quieter. I understand they are quite loud from time to time.
Sit with them. They're friends of yours. Surely you haven't seen them in a while.
Well, they brought me here. I saw them yesterday.
Still sit with them.
I'm just kind of
Ufa?
stood here, just looking between the 2 and this speak, just kind of.
And then I'm guessing, yeah, you all just kind of filter to sitting with them.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. So, would you guys like to have these drinks, or are you passing on them? What would you guys like to do with these drinks?
I'll look straight to Automate and kind of like try and like imitate them as like how they raise their glass and then have a drink of it and see what it's like.
Yeah. Are you just like giving it a sip?
I'll give it like a mouthful, but like not. I'm not going in a chug of the thing. I'm just having a normal drink.
Yeah, sure. So you kind of sit and you try it you're literally like trying to parrot them, just kind of like a. And this thing, like, it tastes really nice and really gross simultaneously. It feels like a flower is kicking you in the gut. It's even though you wouldn't be really familiar with the flavors, it's a concoction called Roll Rum. It's a signature of the Elf Song Tavern. It's absinthe with like this mint flavoring and kind of this sugary coating, and it really just like punches you in the gut when you're like, as you don't take a lot, but it still kind of gives you a good burn. It tastes nice though. The mint and the sugar kind of covers a lot of the like burning alcoholy taste.
Right. I think I'll Samurai will just continue to drink it if he likes it, just
Yeah.
until it's empty.
I mean, that's up to you. Do you think that's like the minty kind of minty sugary? Do you think he'd like that?
Yeah, I think sugar especially he'll drink it.
Yeah. So you kind of just you make your way through that. What about you guys? Are you guys following that lead, or are you?
I think Anya would take a sip, realize how strong it is, and then spit it back out into the cup,
Yeah.
and then kind of just move it into the middle of the table and not drink any more of it.
Do you want to try and disguise that and like look like that didn't happen, or are you fine with?
No, I'll probably disguise it politely.
Go make a stealth check. So roll the 20 and add the little stealth.
Oh god, I ran. Okay. 13.
13. Okay, well, she rolled poorly. So you see, as you kind of pick it up, the rock gnome captain of the ship that brought Samurai here, Captain Automate, she's kind of like standing on one of the stools, and she sees you picking it up, and she kind of raises a glass at you as you do it as well. And as you do it, she also chugs her ale, and you kind of manage to like spit it back in before she looks back down, and you kind of just do a matching little thing and push it into the middle of the table. It kind of it leaves a little bit of a burn in your throat. You kind of like coughing a bit afterwards. Alan kind of takes note and kind of sneaks you a glass of water at some point and just kind of sits it in front of you. Eartha, what about you?
I'm just gonna drink it, not down it, but
Yeah, just
carry
kind of
on with it.
yeah, sit with it. Yeah, so not much else from the world perspective happens this evening. Is there anything else you guys would like to accomplish? Anything? Would any of you like to talk to the crew of the ship? Anyone at the tavern, or would you like to go out into the city and do anything, or anything else you'd like to do at night?
I want to try and get Captain Automate into a booth privately so I can have a one-on-one talk with her.
Yeah. So Ellis and Jess, you guys have a think about if there's anything you'd like to do, and we'll play out. I'll play out this with Jackson. So yeah. So at some point you kind of give Automate a tap on the shoulder, and she's like, "Oh, do you need another drink, lad?" And then you kind of manage to scurry her away into a there's kind of a lounge that's a separate room. So you kind of walk into there. It's like a long room. There's like a sofa at either end. She just kind of stands in the middle. She's looking up at you. You're quite tall and she's extra short. She's just like looking at you with like a yeah, like what the.
It's just where you know Baldur's Gate a lot better than I do, and I was wondering the guild. What do you know about them? And like, are they trustworthy?
I do some business with the guild. It's a funny question. Look, criminality is in essence bad. Yes, I accept that. But you got to understand that Baldur's Gate is a horrible place, and what the guild does here, the real enemies of Baldur's Gate are those posh pricks in the upper city. You know, they steal from the poor and give to themselves, and the guild takes back. It gives jobs to the poor people. They look out for the homeless people in the outer city. You know, anywhere else they wouldn't be so hot, but here they do.
Just
They do good.
this job I've got is with them, and I needed someone I trusted to tell me that I wasn't going to get
She kind of like
stabbed in the back.
she kind of takes like a little bit of a look around. She says, "Wait, you're working for them?"
Not permanently.
Now you do know what you're getting yourself into, lad.
Yeah, yes, I understand. Gruesome death. It's all on the cards.
Okay, well, as long as you're aware of that, I would be more worried, but it looks like you've at least found some friends to watch your back, as long as you're watching theirs. So I'll trust you're a fully grown 4-year-old man, so I'll trust that you know what you're doing.
And I mean, if you were here last night, you would have seen of what we got up to.
She kind of like looks curiously for a second and she says, "Oh, I take it those bloodstains out there are your handiwork."
Can I? Is there a chance without expending a spell slot, I can kind of show an acid ball of like magic?
Yeah, sure. I'll say you kind of play with some cantrips and kind of work it into that. Yeah, you kind of like this ball of sickly green, like with dripping acid, kind of falls on your hand and kind of dissipates as it hits the floor. And she says, and she's kind of looking up at it, and it's dead strange, you know. I've met people who are hundreds of years old, and they can't do as much with magic as you can, and you're a few years old. Doesn't really add up. But
Well, maybe I'll teach you some one day. A bit enough studying, although I understand it's not really your
she
thing.
gives kind of
How
like
about
this high pitched laugh, and she says, "Like, aye, maybe you will, lad. Maybe you will."
And then I think I'll walk back in, like pat her on the shoulder, and then I'll go buy her a drink.
Yeah, sure. She'll happily take it. I won't actually charge you for it because it's quite cheap, so it's only like 1 or 2 copper. Yeah. She thanks you courteously. Ellis, did you have anything you'd like to accomplish tonight,
No, I just want to,
or Eartha? Rather?
get to know people and then just walk around, talk to random people, just small talk.
Uh,
You know?
just general information. Then the only 2 like major players in this crew are the Rock Gnome captain, Autumn May, and her kind of first mate, Grig Ruddle, who's kind of this big, burly bloke, kind of like a typical sailor, very huge man. And the rest of the crew are just kind of like miscellaneous kind of humans, young and old, just kind of people doing work. Yeah, you make polite small talk with everyone. Anya, do you have anything you'd like to do at night, or nothing in particular?
I'd probably stay put at the table and talk to some of the people around the table.
Yeah, no worries. Actually, Anya, can you make a perception check?
Mhm. 8.
8. Don't worry about it. Yeah. So you kind of spend a few hours just kind of reveling in the tap room, making just small talk here and there. The crew aren't staying at the Elf Song. They have rooms on the ship that they cheaper if they just stay on board. So they kind of bid you farewell at around 9-ish, and they head back to get ready for setting sail tomorrow. Yeah. Alan kind of just thanks you again. But if you're staying here tonight, it's half the usual price, so you guys can take off 5 silver pieces. That's the cost of your rooms here tonight. Or
Ellis
if you like,
Ellis
if
not
you
get
like,
charged more.
Don't get involved.
no, it's just kind of like the rooms they have available. The Or if you'd like, you can prefer to like leave a down payment on like a few nights, or you can just keep paying nightly. Whatever's it do. If he kind of trusts you guys at this point, so you could like leave stuff in your rooms, and he wouldn't give it to someone else. He trusts that you're going to tell him when you're booking out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. So some of the you have a polite interaction with Schooner as she kind of sees you coming in. Yeah. Would you guys like to retire?
Yeah.
Yes.
I do have a question though.
Yes.
Where's
Ellis.
my horse being kept?
Your horse is in. So on a map of Baldur's Gate, I've got mine here.
I'm looking at
On
one.
the so you see, there's a district of the outer city called Stony Eyes.
Yes. Oh,
There's a place just at
that's it now.
yeah, Garenmore Stables and Menagerie. There's also even though it is on the map actually, another district of the outer city, Blackgate, which is like north of the city. It's on the North Road. There's also a Garrenmore stables there. So you left your horse at the one in Stony Eyes, but if you went to the one in Blackgate, you could wait there for like half an hour, and they'd bring your horse to you.
Oh.
So you don't have to like if you're not leaving like basically if you want to go to Candlekeep first, you should leave via Stony Eyes. If you want to go north first, you should go through Blackgate. So it just depends which one you want to stop off at, really. But yeah, so again, the night passes uneventfully. No one stabs you in your sleep or anything colorful like that. So yeah, make some constitution checks. Just roll the 20 and add your constitution. Let's see who wakes up first.
Dean.
15?
5.
15, 5, and Jackson?
I think that is 17.
17. Okay, well, Samura, you are up first this morning. Would you like to wake the others up, or would you like to? So it's about I'll give you. It's about like 7 a.m. Actually, no, it's probably about 8 a.m. Would you like to wake up the others, or would you like to go and kind of hang around?
I was thinking I could get a chore out of the way so that they didn't have to go and do it. So while they're asleep, I'll go downstairs, tell the
Yep.
bartender that I'll be back in about 30 minutes, an hour at most, but probably 30 minutes. And I'm gonna go.
So he kind of says to you like, if you're not back, do you want me to wake the others and send them after you, or?
Yes, I assume, but I promise you I will be back.
Oh, all right.
And I'm gonna head off to that little cafe and go collect the
very
money.
good. Very good. Very good. I was thinking like maybe you guys just wouldn't get paid for that job. So
I wasn't bothered by that.
you kind of you make your way through. You make your way towards the Smiling Boar. So the Smiling Boar is in Bloomridge. It's kind of like if on a map of the city, it's kind of on the opposite docks. So you get a nice good walk through the city. You walk through like the nicer parts of the lower city. Kind of, it's quite early, so there's not too many people about. Make a perception check.
That is 10.
Don't worry about it. So yeah, you eventually get to the Smiling Boar, and you kind of see some people. You see some people out on like the veranda where you ate on the outside section that has like a nice view of the harbour. Some people are eating out there, but you also see some people inside the actual cafe. You catch a glimpse of Genta, the halfling. You see her like bright ginger hair fleet past a window inside, so you know she's inside. You open the door. You see her kind of serving some customers.
I'll go in, sit down somewhere. Is there by any chance like a table? Like if she's looking that way, is there a table further past the people so that she sees me sit down, but I'll not interrupt her?
Yeah, sure. Make a. I feel like you're kind of socially awkward, so I'm gonna say make a charisma check.
Okay, that's a natural 20.
Okay, great. So basically, what I was trying to decide is whether the table that in question would kind of be full, and you'd kind of just be like a weird bird and kind of like just drop down to a field of vision. But no, you kind of like James Bond style, like sit curled up, kind of like you pick up an empty glass, kind of like dawdling around with it, kind of like when you see a friend in public and you try and like act natural, and she kind of sees you, and she kind of like jumps for a second, and she skitters over to you. She'll be like, I'll just be 2 minutes, I'll just be 2 seconds, and she runs over to you. Oh, I heard from Brother Hodges. Thank you so much. Your friends didn't die, did they?
No. They're just asleep still.
Thank. Oh God, I would have never forgiven myself. Anyway, I owe you 15, 20 gold. Oh, 20 gold, eh?
Yes, I believe so.
She skitters over to the till and she starts counting it out. Out of curiosity, do you remember how much it was, or
I think it was 25,
Was
but
it
I'm not. I just.
No, it was 15, wasn't it?
that? Yeah, 15. But since you didn't know that, you didn't catch her on it, and she doesn't sense that you're like tricking her or anything. So you get paid an extra 5 gold. She counts out 20 gold.
Yeah.
She slips it over the counter to you, and she says, I can't think of anything else that needs doing at the minute, but if you're ever in Baldur's Gate again, know that you've got a free breakfast here, and I'll keep my ears peeled for any jobs that are going.
Thank you very much. I'll just go back to my friends now, and I'll stand up awkwardly and leave.
No worries. See you later.
Bye.
Oh, and then she kind of like, as you're leaving, she kind of like scurries to the door. Like as the door closes and you start walking back, it kind of pops open again, and she kind of sticks her head out, and she's like, "Oh, I know you're working with Benny. He's a good guy, but just be careful, yeah."
I will. Thank you.
And she kind of sticks her thumb out and heads back to work. Yeah, so same thing as you walk back. It's kind of like this nice winter morning. It's a bit chilly, but you get a nice like walk of the harbor. Not too many sailors out and about. Kind of people are just kind of setting up for the day. The harbor is kind of interesting. There's these machines that you haven't really seen before. They're kind of these mechanized cranes that are kind of all along the harbor, used for taking cargo off of ships and placing cargo on ships. Yeah, you just notice them. You've never seen them anywhere else before. They're cool and mechanical. They kind of just catch your eye. And yeah, you eventually get back to the elf song, and you see Alan is kind of like standing at a window, kind of watching the sun when you open the door, and he goes like, "Oh, good, you were pushing it close there."
Well, a chore's a chore. You've got to get it done.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's very nice of you. Can I get you a drink of anything? Do you want some juice, water?
I'll ask for the same thing Orme got me last night.
He goes like, "Oh, kid, I don't." And he goes like, "Well, I don't know much about Aarakocra. You are a kid, right? I've only met a few Aarakocra."
I'm 4 years old, but we only live to
No,
30.
I know that. I'm just saying, you're 4 years old, so you probably know you're not supposed to drink that stuff in the morning.
Are you not?
Tell
Okay,
you
I'll
what,
just have
I'll
water.
tell you what, I'll make you the same thing, but with water instead of alcohol. And he gives you like some water, and it's just got like a mint leaf kind of laying sadly in the bottom, and it gives it a nice minty. And he kind of sprinkles in some sugar for you. Yeah. So Jess, you are next to the 15. I'll say you're kind of waking up as. Actually, no. We'll kind of we don't really need to do that. We'll say you two wake up. You go downstairs. Kind of, Anya wakes up first, Eartha a little bit later. Yeah, you kind of go downstairs. You find Samara sipping his mint water. Alan doing some work. Clank and Schooner just like sitting being bouncers. They don't do much. They just kind of make sure no one's getting hit. Yeah. So what do you guys like to do? I'll say by this time it's about 9 a.m.
Guys, I before you woke up, I went and collected the gold, and I'll put the 20 gold on the table and just let them divvy it up however they want.
Who wants to take control of that?
It's a bit more than what we were owed here, buddy. What'd you do?
Was it? I didn't remember. So she came up to me and she said 15, and then said no 20, and she handed me it, and I just presumed she wouldn't be lying, and took it.
Can I insight check him? Just
Yeah,
to be
go.
safe.
Yeah, go.
Do I need to roll anything? Because I haven't
Nah.
lied.
No, you're fine.
That is a 15.
15.
Yes.
You get the sense he's kind of like the pitch of his voice, like how young he sounds and like juvenile, you kind of get the sense he wouldn't think to lie. That's the only thing you take away. Like, you don't think lying about this even occurred to him.
Fair enough then. How are we splitting it?
I guess that's up to you two. I guess. I mean, I wasn't exactly much help in the fight.
I guess we can just split it into thirds then, so we're all equal.
Samura immediately pipes up with his hand in the air. 20 isn't divisible by 3.
Alon kind of
What's,
sipping on his mint water.
what's the closest you can get to dividing it by 3, buddy?
776.
Well, how about we give the 2 gold to our buddy over here, just so we can get some breakfast and drinks?
That sounds like a great idea. And he happily takes the 2 gold, and he's like, especially since 3 breakfasts would run you maybe 1. So he kind of tucks it in his pocket, and he says, "What are we? Normal breakfasts? Anyone want anything specific?"
I'll ask for another drink.
You got
Another
it, bud.
non-alcoholic. Was it Rolling Stone or something?
Yeah, the Rolling Stones. Yeah, Roll Run. Yeah. Does anyone have any specific requests, or do they just want a normal breakfast?
Whatever. they
Anya
got.
would. Yeah, Anya would ask what they serve.
I mean, we're a bar, so we don't usually do breakfasts. But I also live upstairs, so I got some sausage, I got some bacon, I got some eggs, I got the usual. I think I got some pancakes somewhere, but they might be old.
Whatever you
Be
feel.
fine for me. Pancakes will be fine, thank you.
Sounds good. Yeah, Anya, he serves you some pancakes. Itha and Samara, he'll just give you like a normal like English breakfast. So by the time you guys have finished eating, you've had like a morning chat. We'll call it like we'll say another hour. So we'll say it's about 10 a.m. Unless do you guys want to kill time and leave like when it would be appropriate to be at the place you're going at high sun, or do you have some other stuff you'd like to do?
Whoa, we've got to meet fucking what's his name? Oh, Sapling. I was gonna call him Tree, but Sapling at late morning.
Yeah,
that's
so
what he's asking about.
so if you
Meet him at the unscroll and scroll.
No, we meet
So,
Sapling at Baldur's Gate to then meet the lady at the unscroll and scroll.
if you look
We can't get through
at
without him.
if you can see on the map, the unrolling scroll is just above the actual gate, Baldur's Gate. So the two are quite close to each other. You just obviously need to go through Baldur's Gate to get to the unrolling scroll. But yeah, so kind of, I think the idea is to meet Sapling like 20 minutes, half an hour before you are supposed to meet this other individual.
Oh, I assume we can just go now to where we're going to meet Sapling, and we can just kind of like
You
we
can just
go
kill some
stand
time on the
around.
way. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can just yeah. So is that what everyone would like to do?
Sure.
So yeah, you kind of slowly make your way through the lower city, kind of just killing some time. Yeah, you eventually get to. So you come to like the wall of the upper city, kind of the curtain that divides the upper city from the lower city, and you can see this wall is much older in design and kind of coloring than like the wall you originally not you, Samara, but Anya and Eartha, you guys came through the newer outer city walls. This wall looks to be older than the walls you pass through, and Baldur's Gate in specific looks to be like probably the oldest of the gates in the city. It doesn't look like decrepit or anything. It's just kind of a much older, archaic design as opposed to like the Basilisk gate that you pass through, or the Black Dragon gate that you pass through, Anya. You kind of kill some time waiting there, and eventually sapling, this older man, scratchy grey stubble, gaunt, kind of very thin body, approaches with his hands in his pockets, and he knows Anya the best, so he'll address Anya. He's like, "Oh yeah, I got your tokens if you're ready to go into the upper city." And he kind of fiddles with the inside of his jacket, and he takes out these 3 tokens with a seal of the watch, which is basically, there's 2 different police forces in the city. The Flaming Fist governs the lower city, and they're supposed to govern the outer city, but they never actually do. And the upper city has its own police force called the Watch, and he hands one of these tokens to each of you. Yeah, well, you show those at the gate, and they won't ask you for a toll.
Okay, thank you, sapling.
Hey, it's all right. Be careful. Hey, and he kind of raises a hand, and he plods off to the rest of his day. Yeah. So you see at the minute, there's a few Flaming Fist standing around the lower city side of the of Baldur's Gate. I'm guessing you guys. Is there anything else you'd like to do in the lower city before you head up to the upper city, or?
Can I just make sure that we have the crystal ball with us?
Yeah. Yeah. So
I have it, don't I?
You'll have.
Because I was the one
Yeah.
making
So
the
it's
deal.
kind of. I'll say yeah. Sam, you kind of like, oh, did we remember that? And Samara has it in his pack. It's yeah. You can't actually see it. It's kind of like in a package, like a silk cloth wrapped around it and tied. But it's there. Yeah. Anything else?
I got none.
Cool. So as you approach the gate, one of the guards, 2 of the guards are having like a discussion. You kind of hear that one of them does this horrible throaty laugh, and he kind of casts a glance and sees you approaching, and he kind of reaches out. Hey, where do you think you're going, eh?
I want to just hand him the token.
He looks down at it, kind of holds it up to the sun, plays around with it, and chucks it back at you. All right. And he kind of moves out the way. I'm guessing you guys flash yours as well, and he kind of just nods and lets you walk past. So yeah, you notice the difference between the upper city and the lower city, like immediately. Like the upper city is like this clean, polished, lovely place. Like there's gardens and plants, and the roads are nicely cobbled, and there's watch patrolling all around. And there's people in nice clothes just kind of walking around everywhere. And you can actually see from Baldur's Gate up the street, like at the end of the street, you can see this the place that was described to you as the Unrolling Scroll. And as you kind of turn that corner to where it is, you can also see this massive space, and it's just this bustling market. Stalls and colors, and like it's not loud. It's not like there's a lot of like talking and stuff, but there's not some of the more usual market stuff like music or anything like that. There's no like, doesn't appear to be any like minstrels or bards or anything playing in the market. But yeah, there's a lot of just like chatter coming from the market. But on the rim of the wide is this it's very eye-catching. In fact, Eartha, you kind of recognize the design of it. It's this marble pavilion. Kind of imagine like a Greek, like Parthenon, like a pillared thing with a roof, and underneath the roof is this just square pool, not deep, just a shallow pool. It's a reflecting pool, so it's made for like meditation. Yeah, it's built of white marble. It's got like a nice arched roof. The roof itself is like this vibrant red, and it's edged in like this gold leaf design. It stands out from everything that's surrounding it, all of the buildings, even the nice buildings of the upper city. This looks very unique. And this wide reflecting pool rests in like the deep basin under the roof. And kind of like as you kind of like maybe you cough or just the sound of your boots, you realize like the acoustics of the pavilion itself are like great. Like you can see this being a really good place for like performance or public speaking. You get the sense that since this is an outdoor area, that's kind of what it's used for. Yeah, there are people here. You see a woman in a red dress sitting on a marble bench at one end of the reflecting pool. You see a few people. Oh, but sorry, Eartha, you recognize this as Chisentan design. This is kind of like inspired by Chisentan architecture. You see a few people standing around. You don't see anyone. You are told that the unrolling scroll is dedicated to Ogma, who is one of the gods. But you don't see anyone that looks like a priest or anything like that. You don't see any religious looking people. But yeah, you see a few people standing around, maybe a few people chatting, a few people kind of gazing into the pool. You do also see a female half elf with like chestnut hair kind of tied up into a nice bun. And there's kind of like a few strands of her hair are kind of falling free of that bun. She looks a little bit overworked. She's got like these round glasses that kind of sit on a small nose. And she's got like this, it's almost like a portable shelf that she's dragged to the edge of the pavilion. And she's selling books and scrolls and maps. I think you are told in passing that a lot of so to get into Candlekeep, you have to have a piece of like a book or something of that kind that isn't already in the library. You have to contribute to the library to get in. And the Unrolling Scroll is a place where merchants set up to sell books to people who are passing through to get to Candlekeep, because it's on the main road from north to like from that north gate, the Black Dragon Gate, through the city and south to to Candlekeep. So you see she is kind of flogging books to anyone that'll stop and talk to her. But yeah, so you see this half elf, you see a few people that are just standing around, and you see this woman the woman in a red dress. You recognize as the person you're supposed to be meeting. She's kind of sitting. She looks very aristocratic. She's got blonde hair. She's quite skinny. She's sat like her back is perfectly straight. She's wearing like a red hat that has a black veil that covers her face. She's wearing this crimson red dress with red gloves and red boots. She's got one leg crossed over the other, and she's just kind of sitting, like drumming her fingers on her leg. So I'll leave it open to the floor. What would you guys like to do?
Guessing that's our lady then.
I would presume so. Do we want to start with her?
I think how she looks describes perfectly how we were meant to. Well, how Goblin Benny described her to us. I think it's best to give it a try.
Do we want to buy a book first, or do we want to just go straight to her?
I'll have a quick look in the books.
As you guys are kind of
Don't
like,
mind.
as you say, do you want to buy a book first? You see this half elf kind of like just barges into your space. Like you weren't standing far away from her stall, but she just kind of like claps an arm around two of you, like one arm around Anya's shoulder, one arm around Eartha's, and she's just kind of like on a school playground when someone would just join your conversation. This half elf with the chestnut hair and the glasses just bursts in, and she's like, buying a book sounds like a great idea. Who do I have the pleasure of dealing with today? My name is Elenis. And she kind of sticks her hand out and then realizes there's three of you, and she kind of crosses another one, and she kind of grabs your hands and shakes them and makes her way to the third. What can I interest you in today? And she kind of brushes some of the free strands, trying to like map them to her hair, worrying that she looked unkempt.
You got anything rare?
Repeat that, sir.
Got anything rare?
Rare? Well, and she kind of grabs your hand, Eartha, kind of like just palm in palm, like a meaty grab, and she just like drags you over. You know, in like an airline commercial where it's like a POV of someone like holding their hand and like dragging them away. It's kind of like literally one of those. She just drags you over and
I
like looking
wanna-
back, making sure you're still there.
I want to like turn around to the other two. I just have just such a scared look on my face.
Yeah, you're just being dragged off. Do you guys want to follow, or are you just confused?
I'll follow.
I think we'd follow just to
Yeah.
see what books she's got in store.
So so Eartha, she's holding your hand and she's just pulling you over, and you guys kind of just start walking after them. And she shows you her like this shelf of this prop up shelf of things that she's got set up. Okay, well, I've got guidebooks. They're kind of mainly what I deal in, but I can fish around for something rarer. And she kind of opens up a trunk. And she's like, "Oh, feel free to have a look at what's out on display while I have a look." And yeah, so she starts rustling through some of the stuff she's got in storage. But you can see like out on display, she's got guidebooks for places like urban places like Luskan, Neverwinter, Waterdeep, Baldur's Gate, Candlekeep, Athkatla, El Terrell, Suzale, and Westgate, as well as rural places, kind of this region called the Fields of the Dead, the Wood of Sharp Teeth, the Reaching Wood, the Forest of Worms, the Green Fields. They're kind of places they're kind of regions that are quite close to Baldur's Gate. She's also got some maps, like some rolled up maps that you can kind of take a look at. She's got one of Baldur's Gate itself, one of the Western Heartlands, which is kind of the region of the continent that you're on, the Sword Coast, Amn, which is the country to the south, Cormia and the Dragon Coast, and just a very not very detailed map of just northern Faerun in general. And she's also got some guidebooks for monsters in specific. So she's got one about kind of I won't give I'll give a few examples, but if you want to try and see if you can find one about a specific monster, you could probably give it a good go. So she's got goblins, orcs, wyverns, basilisks, and dragons, just to name a few. But if you want to try and find a guidebook, like a bestiary about a different kind of monster, you could give it a good go. So yeah, does any of that interest you?
Yes.
She's still digging through the... Yep. Eartha?
How much do you reckon the wyverns and the dragons bestiary is going to be?
So are you looking for one that's like a complete codex of knowledge, or are you looking for one that would just give you like an advantage in a fight?
Both.
Kind of a very like there's a book there's like a book literally called the Book of Dragons, which is just like this A to Z kind of like complete collection of knowledge about dragons, like every type of dragon, what they're weak against, like how they breed, how they lair, like every piece of knowledge you can need to know, the draconic gods, everything. That one's quite expensive. It's about 125 gold pieces. But you can kind of find some individual books, kind of more loose titles, kind of like notes on a red dragon, and it's kind of like it's just kind of got like the general weaknesses and strengths, and kind of some of the abilities of, and they'll run you about 25 gold pieces.
What about wyverns? Anything on them?
The wyverns, that one, since they're not kind of as tough as dragons, that one will run you about 10 gold pieces.
I'll take that one.
Yeah, so as she's like, "Oh yeah, that's great," and she kind of like pushes it off the shelf and it falls in your hands, and she kind of takes the 10 gold pieces off you. Yeah, so this book will just kind of like write down that you have it. It doesn't really have a specific title. There's nothing like written on it. There's no like title of the book, but just inside there's just like detailed writings about wyverns and like how they behave during a fight, and kind of their weaknesses, their strengths, what kind of methods are good against them, how to avoid them, stuff like that. So if you write it down, and then if you're ever fighting a wyvern, you can bring it up, or you can just look into wyverns, or I can send you some stuff on wyverns, whatever works for you. What about you, Anya or Samura? Do you have anything you're interested in?
I want to like step towards her and go, "Hey, I'm trying I need to get into Candlekeep. I need something which, they don't have. Do you have anything which can do
You
that?
can see like her pointed ears perk up as she's digging through her trunk, and she's like, and she kind of lowers the trunk a second, and she looks at Eartha, and she says, "Are you both after? Are you both asking after rare books for the same purpose, or were you okay? Okay." And she props the trunk open again, and she says, "Okay, well, if we're gaming Candlekeep, da da da. All right, this one." And she pulls it out, and she hands you kind of this quite thinly bound book, and she says, "I can guarantee they don't have that because I only finished it a few weeks ago. So that one will only run you. Yeah, it's not going to be very useful to you beyond that. So I'll be fair. 20 gold pieces for that.
Can I do an insight check to see if she's telling the truth, or
Yeah,
to
go
see
for
if
it.
she's like, I'm just worried she's like selling this exact same book to multiple people.
Yeah, go for it.
That's a 10.
10. You don't think she's lying. You don't get a lying sense necessarily. You see her name is on the book. It says it's got her name written on like the spine, Elenis, Ellenys. And uh, as you kind of like flick it open, you can kind of see it's just some sort of like kind of like a it's like a almost like a ledger, like a business ledger, but it's kind of like a study of how much money she makes selling books in different cities. So it's kind of got like her theories about why certain books sell better in Waterdeep as opposed to Neverwinter, and why certain things sell really well in Baldur's Gate but not in Luskan. Um, yeah, you don't think she's lying. You think you kind of see maybe you see like a date in there or something, and it looks to be finished pretty recently. So you think it's pretty probable.
Right. And then I'll go, and if for personal reasons, do you have anything on a gate to the west?
Gate to the west.
Yes.
Gate to the west. Actually, Ellis, could you make a intelligence check?
Just straight intelligence, yeah.
Yeah,
That is a 19.
19.
Yes.
You remember? So you left Chicenta, and then once you got off the ship, quite far away. You remember the place you got off? People referred to that as the Gateway of the West, uh, and as you're kind of, and that place was called Westgate. And she says, I think people sometimes call Westgate the Gate of the West, but that's kind of old fashioned, I think. Aye, yeah. And she kind of leans forward and she kind of hands out a guidebook. She says, "Well, this one was written by Volo, but yeah, it's Volo's Guide to Westgate. I can't guarantee that it's the." And she kind of takes it back and she flicks through it, and she kind of shows it to you at a page where it's got Gateway to the West written, and she closes it. And she says, "Are you interested?"
Jackson Birdie.
Yeah, I'll take it by books.
Could you say that again?
Yes. I'll say, yes, I'll take both, and I'll buy both the books.
Cool. Together, that'll run you 40 gold pieces for the two.
Alright.
Yeah. So yeah, Eartha, you recognize when he said gateway to the west. You recognize that you'd heard local people at Westgate kind of referred it to that in the docks. You kind of just based off your intelligence check, like people coming from the east arrive in Westgate. It's the gateway to the west. So like you did, you came from the east. So yeah, you have some fairly, you didn't stay there long. You just got off the ship there, bought a horse, and started heading off. Maybe you spent like 1 or 2 nights there, but not long. So yeah. What about you, Anya? Did any of the books catch your interest, or are you okay?
think I'm okay. I don't think Anya knows that much about any of the areas or any of the monsters that the books are about. So I think it's just kind of one of those learning things she'll have to find out along the way. Because she doesn't know too much about it to buy a book about it.
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, she kind of closes up her trunk and kind of kicks it back underneath her shelves and says, "Well, it was a pleasure doing business with you. Is there can I get you any maps?" And she kind of like stops herself and she's like, "Yeah, you've spent a lot of money. It's fine. You'd tell me if you want to buy anything. Is there any? I appreciate all the money you've spent. Is there anything else I can help you with, or?"
I don't suppose you could lead us to a lady called Madame Eva, could you?
What dealings have you got with that charlatan?
We just need to see her, that's all.
Well, and she kind of like she put like the unrolling scroll is like kind of on the opposite side of the street to the wide, and she kind of points into just like the mass of people in the market, and she says, She usually sets up shop around the center. There's a statue, the beloved ranger. It's a tall bronze statue, bald fella with a little hamster. If you find the statue, you should be able to find her. I think she's got a few. She's got a few guys that she keeps with her for protection. They're kind of poncy looking. They've got a bright purple, almost like jestery clothing on. Yeah, you'll spot them from a mile away. Find the statue, and you'll find her. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Cool. Yeah. So, what do you guys like to do?
Should we meet the red lady?
Yeah.
See what she has to
So-
say.
Yeah. As you guys kind of approach, do you kind of want to just stand there until she addresses you, or does anyone want to take the lead? Or
Just kind of stand there, but like look around, but not look at her directly, but kind of like look around
Kinda
and then every so often glance at her.
like two spies meeting
Yeah.
on like a street? Yeah. After about like 10 seconds pass, she kind of like turns her head 90 degrees to look at you, and she kind of takes a few seconds looking at each of you individually, and then goes, "Right on time, good keeping. Please take a seat." And she kind of budges along on the bench a bit to make room for everyone. You can choose to stand if you're not. You kind of said she was just doing it as a courtesy. You don't have to.
Now I'll sit.
Sit as well.
I'll
Yeah.
sit.
You guys all kind of sit side by side and kind of like lean forward to talk to each other. She says, "How much did Benny tell you about the job?"
Nothing.
Good. That little worm can follow commands at least. Well, I was very impressed to hear of your encounter at the Elf Song, and, well, I've requested your services for what's the word? A heist of sorts. If you are interested, which you are here, so I trust you are.
What we're doing?
Okay.
What kind of heist we're doing?
Straight to business. I like that. Very well. There is a party tonight at Eomain House. It is a masked masquerade party. You are to infiltrate said party, and, well, there are a series of things in scaling order that I would like you to accomplish. The most important thing that you accomplish is that there is an ancient vault located underneath Aomain House. Based on the intelligence I have acquired, I have deduced that the north wall of the cellar should be online with the wall of this vault. I want you to pierce this wall and loot as much of the vault as possible.
What size
That
wall
is
is that? Sorry.
north.
North.
The second job I would like you to accomplish. Patriarch Aomain has an office in his home. I would like you to steal a business ledger from his office. The third task, this one is not essential, but I will, well, to talk in frankness, I will pay you more if you can accomplish it. If you manage to gather any information that can be used to blackmail the fancy men and women at this party, that will also fetch you an extra price. I will, if you are ready, I will give you some more information, but do you understand the three tasks as I have said them?
Break, steal, get information.
Perfect. Very well. I'm told none of you are native to Baldur's Gate, so I will quickly tell you that the noble houses of Baldur's Gate, of which one is the Aomain family, the head of each family is a patriarch. These are people that sit on the council and make decisions for the city, for the upper city specifically. So yes, it is quite a noble estate. The patriarch himself will not be home during the party, I have been told. The party is being thrown by his eldest daughter, Nicene. Her three other siblings will also be in attendance, but along with many of the youth nobles of the upper city will be in attendance of this party. Nicene has earned herself a bit of a reputation for. She has become cruel as of late. She likes to make sport of keeping lower city residents at her party and letting them out only at night, only to get into trouble with the guard for being in the upper city after hours. But yes, do you have any questions? And she kind of trails off. I'm sorry. I hadn't been told one of you was a rainbow-coloured Aarakocra. That will need to be taken care of.
Okay. Yes. I didn't think it would be much of an issue, but I have a couple tricks up my sleeve which can love it.
You have magic. Very good. Very good. Well, you will all need to be outfitted. I take it. And she kind of looks at like your shoes and kind of your pants and says like, you all look like you've been on the road for a fair amount of time, so you will all need to find yourselves some fine attire for the evening. I know a tailor. He works in the Wide. He's a wood elf called Onodalis. If you find him and you tell him that I sent you, he will outfit you for the evening. Yes, she kind of reaches underneath the. She reaches underneath the bench, and she pulls out this satchel, and she hands it to Eartha. You are the first to sit, so you're probably next to her. She hands it to you. That is a bag of holding. You can use it to. Well, I need as much from the vault as possible. So, if you run into trouble, you can just do a full sweep, get as much in that bag as possible, and get it out. But, as I said, now, I want to be clear. I have no clue how you're going to get through that wall without raising an alarm. That is up to you. But the job needs to be done if you would like to be paid.
I'll figure something out. Sorry, what was
Very
your
good.
name again? Don't think we ever got told that.
Yes, I don't do names. You may call me the Whiskey Lady.
Nice name.
I am the, and she kind of says this next bit with a bit of like disdain. I am the kingpin of Manorborn. Manorborn is this district, this neighborhood of the Upper City.
Right. Can I ask? Do you guys have some sort of animals or pets you keep within your household? Something
A horse.
no one would find suspicious in a posh house.
A horse.
Unfortunately, I don't own any pets.
Who are you
I meant-
addressing?
I meant to the woman in the red.
Oh, I see. Well, there are rules in Baldur's Gate. You may not, an animal larger than a peacock may not enter the city. But some of the nobles do keep dogs. I am not aware of the fact that if the Aomanes do or not. I have not. It did not come up while I was gathering intelligence for tonight. You understand? I did have operatives ready to head in tonight, but I have been told that you might be. Well, I'll be blunt. You're expendable and talented. So 2 and 2.
That was a double-edged sword there. Well, it wasn't a double-edged sword, but that was like a comment and an insult at the same time.
Accompliceal. Just a Yeah.
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find out if I can use Find Familiar to scout the place out, but I don't have any animals they're gonna have, so I can't really do it too effectively.
You have a frog, right?
Yeah, I've got my frog, but
They
if
would
somebody
notice
sees a frog,
a yellow frog. I think. I mean, it
the
more
best I
depends
have
on-
is a snake.
Yeah, it more depends on the stealth of it. So you could go with something like a cat and hope it was like stealthy because cats are pretty stealthy.
The thing is, cat isn't
if
even on the
you- if you-
list. The best I have is a rat, I'm pretty sure.
I'll have a look in the book for you, buddy.
Yeah,
And
cats
see where-
cats should be on there. So that's weird. But yeah. So yeah, she goes over it again. So, unless you have another tailor that you would rather use, you can visit my friend Onadalis in the Wide. He will tailor an outfit for you to wear this evening. Sorry, and she kind of says, "You asked me my name, but I forgot to ask you yours. What are your names?"
I'm Eartha.
Eartha,
Samura.
Samura, and Anya. It came through. Very good. Well, Samura, if you believe you can mask your identity, then that is also well and good. Yes, very good. You will use the bag of holding to loot as much as possible from the vault. Sorry, Anya.
You need from the vault. And why are you sending us?
Well, I didn't want to go into detail in case you weren't interested, but since you've asked. There has long been a local legend about a vault belonging to an old temple, to a god that used to be quite popular with the nobles of the upper city. Her name is Syamorph, but in recent times, Syamorph has fallen out of favor with the nobles. The style of nobility that Syamorph endorses is quite literal, noble. But the nobles of Baldur's Gate are far from noble in current times, so they do not worship her as much. So the temple was destroyed hundreds of years ago, and the vault was sealed off. And recent intelligence that has come to my attention, that being some ancient maps, indicate that the Temple of Syamorph was located where Eomain House now stands in Manorborn. But inside the vault, based on some records that I have had access to at the Temple of Gond, there should be, emphasis on the should, parchment, several long pieces of parchment that depict family trees of the noble houses, signet rings belonging to the noble houses, and other trinkets to that effect, possibly even some treatises or agreements between the upper city. You understand these things have value, but they also... the right historian would pay a pretty penny for these things.
I see.
And to finish going over everything, so you are to puncture and loot as much of that vault as possible, ideally, and she motions at the bag of holding. With that magical bag, you should be able to fit everything, but if you have the time, I will leave that up to you, but depending on how much you bring out will affect your pay, of course. Your second job is to find the Patriarch's study. I have been informed that it is on the second floor. You are to infiltrate his private office and steal the documentation that I require. It will be records. Yeah, sorry. The Aomain family are in charge of the city's perfumeries. That is where their fortune comes from. The records, the documentation will be regarding the city's perfumeries. It will be profits and earnings. And the third job will be to gather any either eavesdrop or steal or anything to that effect, information that could be used to blackmail. You understand, the attendants of this party are the young next generation of patriarchs, of the city's patriarchs. Having blackmail on them would be most optimal. So whether you witness them doing a certain thing or you hear about them doing a certain thing, anything can be useful. And also, just for the record, if you wish to steal anything while you are there that does not fit any of my needs, you are free to keep that and fence as you wish.
Can I ask, this party will be like attending / stealing throughout. Is it obviously once I disguise myself as like a normal man in a nice suit, is it something we're allowed to be at, or is it invitation only?
You get, yeah, sure. So she kind of tells you that it's not invitation only. You just kind of have to like look like you belong. So you have to be like a fancy looking younger person. Like they don't want some like old patriarch like cramping up their party. They just want some like cool patriarch. You don't get the sense the bouncers would stop you if you looked like you belong. If you just look young and like you're in nice clothes, they'll let you in.
Right.
Which is kind of how you guess her operatives might have failed to fulfill this, because all of the guild people you've met that aren't kingpins look kind of gross and underfed and weak and like kind of just like not well off, so they wouldn't have been able to pass very well. Yeah, is there anything else you'd like to ask her?
Nope.
I'm good.
I think Anya would be a little bit hesitant because it's not really in her to be a thief.
Yeah.
So I think she would kind of be very kind of reluctant. So she'd probably need convincing.
Are you voicing that? Like, are we sure this is a good idea? Are you kind of voicing that opinion?
Yeah.
She gives you like a polite little chuckle, and she says, "My, you really aren't from Baldur's Gate. You understand, the people you're stealing from are the real criminals. These people are horrible. Well, I told you in brief about Nicene, the eldest Aomain, but I will tell you in more detail. She likes to lure men from the lower city with her attractiveness into her parties, where she makes cruel sport of them, strips them, abuses them in front of crowds, the whole works. After which, she kicks them out in the middle of the night And I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not. If you are not a resident of the upper city, you are not allowed to be here at night, after which they are usually arrested or beaten badly by the watch. You understand, these people, I hesitate to use the word deserve, but they deserve everything that we do to them. But your concern fills me with youthful naivete that I long wish I still retained. I understand you don't want to be a criminal. I didn't want to be a criminal. And so I don't think about it that way. I see myself as someone who helps the right people and hurts the right people. You may use that if it helps. At this point, she'll kind of stand. If there's anything else?
Just as a matter of payment, I don't
Of course.
wish to be rude, but if my other two
No, of course.
agree on this, I think reducting the pay for the bag of holding wouldn't be a opposed idea.
Well, I did intend to surprise you, and I trust this will prove to you that I am not the criminal you maybe think I am. I intended to let you keep the bag of holding on top of payment.
Oh well, thank you then.
I just kind of
Quite all right.
Just kind of just have Eartha to like hold the bag, just kind of look at it.
Yeah, it's just a TARDIS. It's just like this massive space within the bag. The enchantment. Yeah, so she kind of to quickly go over as she stands up and she finishes saying that. I will reward you for completing the task, for looting the vault. I will, if you adequately loot the vault, obviously I will have to reduce the payment if you don't get much. But for an adequate amount of the vault looted, I will award you 300 gold pieces and the bag of holding. For the successful theft of the perfumery logs, I will award you a further 150 gold pieces. And we will barter for any secrets, blackmail you might learn once you have that sort of information. Are we agreed? Very good. Very good. And she kind of she goes to walk away, and she stops for a second, and she just casts a glance at you, Anya, and she says in like a very soft voice, "Don't stop worrying. You don't want to become a jaded adult like the rest of us." And she leaves, leaving you guys sitting at the unrolling scroll, kind of salivating over the money you might earn.
I'm still holding the bag, just staring at it.
Yeah, so looking in, you just look into the bag of holding, and it's just this massive space. You could put a house in there. Like, you don't know how deep it goes. You don't want to exactly find out. You've heard it's dangerous.
Draw my sword, look back at the bag, and just put my sword in the bag.
Yeah, like a magician, you kind of hold the bag up and you push your sword in and it disappears into the bag, and you kind of take your arm out and you put it back in and you pull it back out.
That's gonna come in handy. Just saying, that's really gonna come in handy.
So it's literally like a Mary Poppins bag.
Yeah.
It's literally an infinite space. You can put whatever you want in it as long as it fits within like the bag's like. What's it called?
Bear in mind, like the rim of the bag. Yeah, like
as long
the
as it
hole.
fits within the rim of the bag, pretty much anything can be put in there.
Bear in mind, there are two addendums. If you put in, so it's essentially there's a demi-plane, like there's a plane of existence within the bag. That's the enchantment on it. If you put another, like if you were to put a bag of holding within a bag of holding, everything just breaks and it all spills out. but the actual demiplane itself is located in the astral plane, so you can actually go into the astral plane and find someone's bag of holding and break into it. So obviously that doesn't happen very often. It's quite hard to do, but know that, for example, yes, Jess.
Taken the crystal ball.
You've still Samura's holding on to it, yeah.
So she didn't even take it.
That's
It wasn't
that's
for
not,
her.
that's not for her.
Oh, okay.
We can do that now if you want. We can go.
Yeah, I mean,
assume
see
so.
Madame
you're
Squeaky.
right outside of the wide. If you would like to, would you guys like to kind of go shopping, or would you like to look for the people? So you've heard about a wood elf called Anadalis who will do some tailoring, and you're looking for Madame Eva, who is the this traveling seer. Who and Jess, you got Jess. You
Thought
got
that
told.
was Madame Eva.
No, that's that. You don't know her name.
The witch
Uh,
lady.
So, Madame Eva is the person Rivelin sent you after. That's
Right,
the person
yeah.
Goblin Benny sent you after.
Yeah, I'm getting
Um,
confused.
So, yeah. You are told if you find the statue at the center of the wide, you should be able to find Madame Eva. Yeah, Jackson, were you going to say something?
Just try and have
Can you say that again? It cut out.
Can I roll a perception and try and look for it?
Yeah, sure.
I also just want to mention that this is the first time my feat's gonna come in handy, and I'm so happy I picked this feat.
What's your feat?
It's observant. So in other words, yeah, it gives me proficiencies in like perception and investigation. But if I can see someone's lips and I know the language they're speaking, I know exactly what they're saying.
Yeah, that'll come in quite handy.
So I could be miles away, and as long as I see their lips and I can see them moving, and I know the language, I'm sorted.
Yeah, that's pretty good. What was your check, Jackson?
I rolled a 9.
Total?
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. So you three kind of burst, like you kind of start pushing your way into the wide. You know, this market is thick with people. Like as soon as the sun rises, like at night, this thing is just like a desert. Like it's just a flat bit of ground, no stalls or anything. And as soon as the sun rises every morning, tons of merchants show up, set up their stalls, set up their carts, start selling stuff, and then as soon as the sun starts to set, it's all gone again. So yeah, you're pushing your way through crowds of people. Can everyone make a survival check? So roll 20 and add survival.
Oh no.
Got
Okay.
3.
13.
13?
I also got a 3.
3. Okay. You all realize within like 2 minutes, you kind of glance around. None of you see each other at all. You are like, you've gotten separated in the crowds. You cannot find each other. Like you're looking around, you're starting like peer over groups of people and you cannot find anyone.
Can I do a perception check? Or would it be investigation?
Make a perception check, yeah.
15 plus 14 plus 5. Oh.
That's above 30.
So, above 30.
Yeah. So you see statue now. You see this statue of this tall bronze statue of a so it's made entirely of bronze, so it's all a solid color, but it's of this bald male figure in like this chainmail armor. He's kind of got this long sword over one shoulder, and he's got like a small hamster on the other shoulder, and that's just kind of standing proud in the center of the wide. And you think you can see Samura kind of standing at the base of that statue, and you see Anya kind of a little ways away, kind of like walking in a similar direction. But cutting over to you, Anya, as you're like looking around, you feel like a tugging at like your pant leg, like your left leg, just like someone like pinching your leg, like trying to get your attention.
Do I see who it is, or do I just?
So yeah, you kind of like you glance down, and you see this girl, maybe about like 11 years old, 10, 11 years old. She's kind of like, she's got very light brown hair, almost like blonde, but kind of, it's still got that dark enough in there to be brown. Kind of just like not up in a ponytail or anything, just kind of like down behind her back. And she's wearing just very plain clothes, and she's just pinching on you. And as soon as you look down at her, she's like, "Excuse me, my mum's selling flowers if you'd like any."
Sorry, I'm a little bit lost right now. I'm trying to find my friends.
What they look like?
Well, one looks like a bird, and the other one's quite rough looking.
Friends with a bird? Oh, okay. Well, this comes first. And she kind of just grabs one of your fingers and starts leading you through the crowd. And she starts leading you towards the statue. You all kind of get the sense that you orientate yourself in this market based on this statue because it's the only solid thing. And kind of at some point she breaks through some people and she goes, there he is, he's at the bottom of the statue. And she kind of leads you over to him, and like she stands next to him. And Eartha, you eventually make your way over there. So you're all standing at the base of the Beloved Ranger, which is the name of the statue. It's on a plaque at the bottom.
I'm assuming I could see
yeah.
Anya speaking to the little one, right?
Yeah, the little girl's just kind of hanging here. She's just like, "Oh, I'm part of the group now." Yeah.
I know what you said. How dare you? I'm not that rough. Bit hurt
I
by
don't
that.
think you would have been able to see them actually because they were like 50 feet away.
Ah, it doesn't matter. I didn't see shit.
Yeah. So the
With me.
but also say again.
Is the little girl still with me?
Yeah, she's just kind of like,
Okay.
when you're like standing around and she's just kind of joined in, like, yeah, where are we going? Like, this is it now. This is the group. She's not saying anything. Like, she's just kind of hoping no one will notice and she's just part of the group now.
I'm just gonna look down and just kind of like look at her for a second and then look up to the other two.
She does a little wave when you look down at her.
For a little wave with my bird arms.
Right.
Can I speak to the little girl?
Yeah, go for it.
No.
Thank you for letting me find my way. Perhaps you should get back to your mother.
Yeah, I should. Would any of you like to buy any flowers?
I'm afraid I'm not much of a flower person.
Can I just hand her a copper piece and say go away, basically, but like in a nice way?
She takes the copper piece and she kind of like she smiles back. She goes, "But you're," and she kind of looks at the three of you and she goes like, "You're adventurers, yeah?"
No.
All right.
Not yet, anyway.
All right. And she kind of she looks up at you, Anya, and she says, "What's your name, miss?"
Yeah. What's yours?
Phoebe. Well, you and you're very nice. Your friends are a bit weird, especially the bird. But they're not very interested. But we sell flowers and seeds, but they're for adventurers, so they do cool stuff. So you can just find us later. And she kind of trots off.
Phoebe.
And she kind of waves as you say that as she runs off.
I just want
yeah,
to look
you see.
defeated. Like, after hearing that, I just want to look just
Yeah.
so defeated that I said
She did
no.
say you are adventurers, though. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're
Yeah, I
just
thought you
starting
just
out.
wanted. I thought you just wanted to join us, and I was like, "No, you're a little girl."
So you see like the way she's like dodging and weaving through people. Like she looks like when you see like an athlete doing whatever sport they're good at, and you're like, "Whoa, look at them go!" She's just like a cougar in the jungle, just moving throughout people like it's an art form. And you see her kind of you think if you are interested, you think based on you kind of watched where she went from the statue, you think you could probably find her later on if you were interested. But I will say, from the statue, kind of getting up on the base a bit to like look around, you can kind of see you see a wood elf who's kind of standing on the back of a wagon. And there's kind of mannequins and like tape measures hanging off the mannequins and bits of fabric. And you gather that's the tailor that had been mentioned to you. But you also see a wagon with like a covered roof, like a purple covered roof that's docked a little bit away from the statue. And you see 4 men in like purples and reds, and you see sitting kind of at the side of the wagon underneath a bit of like fabric, like a almost like an awning, like a cover, is an old shriveled looking woman sitting at a table with like the 4 men just kind of a little bit around, kind of just watching the market, who you take to be Madame Eva based on descriptions.
Should we get the Madame Eva out the way and then move to getting our lovely fancy dress where I won't look so rugged and rough?
Yeah.
I'll just hold up the sphere and then start walking that direction.
So do you want to lead this? Do you want to lead this, Samurai? Because you've got the crystal ball.
Yeah.
Go for it. So you as you approach, you see she kind of like from like underneath like this purple hood. You see like it's kind of, it's only up to like the back of her head really. It's kind of just draped. There's this grey matted like hair that's like matted to her head, very wrinkled skin. She looks very crone like very very old. And her head kind of rises as you approach. And she doesn't say anything. She just kind of got her hands interlocked and she's resting her head on them, watching you approach.
Hello, I'm here with this, and I'll pull out the sphere and just like hand it to her, and I'll go. Riverland sent me to give you this. Also, apparently he owed you a favor of some sort.
Yes. And she kind of like, with one of her long fingernails, kind of cuts the fabric and rips open the cloth. And you see this crystal ball, and she kind of puts it on this little brass base where it sits and doesn't roll. And it's this beautiful crystalline sphere. It looks like quartz. It looks very expensive, especially at this size. It's about that big, about as big as like a melon. And she kind of gazes into it and she says, "A favor. Yes, Riverlin owed me a favor. So, you are here to pay."
Yeah.
Sit, Aarakocran one.
Oh, most people don't even know what I am.
She reaches into her pocket and she pulls out a deck of cards and she puts them on the table and kind of like rests her hand on them for a second. Most people do not know who we are either. We are the Vistani.
I was gonna say, can
And
I
she
do
kind of
what was it?
you can do a
Would it be intelligence?
you can do a history check.
History.
You can do a history check if you want to see if you know anything about the Vistani.
Can I do an Arcana check?
Yeah,
Just
sure.
about this type of magic?
14.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
That's a natural 1.
Eartha, you've heard of the Vistani. They're kind of like this traveling, I don't want to use the word, but just for frame of reference, like gypsy, like kind of like here and there. You know, they come from a far off land that you don't know anything about called Barovia, but that's about the limits of what you know. Yeah, you don't know anything. You just kind of gather like cards, crystal balls. Riverland called her a seer. You gather this is all like fortune telling magic. It's not really like a specific school. Well, it's kind of like divination magic. But like the card reading especially is very like fortune tellery. And she kind of like, she's resting her hand on top of these cards and she spreads them out across the table. And she's looking down at them and she says, "Pick 3.
How many cards is there in total?
There's about like 30, 40. A fair amount.
I'll pick card number 4, 8, and 12.
I really wanted to whisper in the ear, middle one, but there is no middle one if it's 1 to 40.
Oh, that's
Gotcha,
true.
She pulls the first one. The Conjurer. And she places it in front of you. That's the image for frame of reference. She gazes into the crystal ball for a second, then like looks into the card. The coming of an unexpected supernatural threat. Those who think themselves as gods. And she puts the card back into the pile. She draws the second one. The torturer. One who is irredeemably evil or sadistic. She draws the third one. The beast. Something bestial or malevolent, hiding in plain sight, or lurking just below the surface. She kind of glances up at you, and she's got like this cruel grin across her face, almost like she knows the answers, but she's not telling you them. But whose surface, I wonder? And she kind of leans back, and she kind of rolls up the cards again into a pile, and she starts clapping them together to make sure they're back into a deck. Who's next? She looks at the two of you.
I'm just gonna point at Anya.
Sit, girl. She does the same thing. Do you want to say some random numbers between 1 and 40, Jess? Pick your cards.
10.
10.
23. And 35.
I'm starting to think that what card you pick doesn't matter.
Wow, what will give you that impression?
Gotta be in character though, Jackson. Gotta be in character.
Starting to
You
think it's rigged.
She draws the first card. The traitor. A perceived betrayal by someone close and trusted. She draws the second card. The mist. A great journey ahead that will be testing on your very spirit. She draws the third card. The transmuter. The coming of the unexpected. Consequences unforeseen. She gets that same grin as though she knows exactly what she's talking about, as though she's seen what she's talking about, and she's only giving you like the vaguest detail about it. And then she motions for you to stand, and she says, "Your last, boy."
I want to sit down and just kind of like ruffle the fur, being all about strategy and that, you know. I've got to be on the ball. So I'm trying to think what's the most strategic way to do this. So I'm going to go 1, 20, and 40.
1, 20, and 40, okay.
Middle, begin, and end.
Interesting. Okay. She draws the first card. The seer. A future event, the outcome of which will hinge on a clever mind. She kind of grimaces at like the numbers of the cards you chose, like a recognition of it. She draws the second card. The bishop. Those who plot, plan, and scheme. She draws the third card. The shepherd. One who bears a burden far too great to be shouldered alone, even if it is one he is not yet aware of. He kind of leans back in this like thatch seat she's sitting on, this like old wicker chair. She leans back in it and she kind of laughs to herself, this horrible like old smoker's cough almost laugh, as though like she thinks this is very funny, like she knows exactly what she's talking about for all three of you, and she's just like dipping your toes in the water.
Can I start laughing back? And then just go,
She-
I don't know what you're on about, and just stand up.
She really enjoys that, and she laughs like even harder when you laugh with her. And she kind of like wipes a tear from her eye. And the other Vistani, like the four men, are just kind of standing around, like watching you get your fortunes read. When you stand, she says, "Very well. I know what task you can do for me.
What's the task?
Very good. Well, your fortunes are very interesting. I have a friend here in Baldur's Gate. His name is Toramesh. He lives in a park in the lower city. He's a druid. He has a very interesting gift. I wish for you to go and see him immediately and tell him that Madame Eva sent you.
Is that it? Is he going to tell us what to do once we get there, I'm guessing?
Yes, I won't spoil the fun. And there's this horrible cough.
This entire time, Samura, like for the first time since anyone's met him, he's like actually not laughing, not being a child. He stood up, facing away from the tent. For the first time ever, stood up straight at his max height, his hands on his hips, terrified.
She kind of grimaces at you and she goes, I love it when they recognize the truth in the cards immediately. And she does a little giggle to herself again. And she looks at the other two, Eartha and Anya, and she goes, I wonder when they'll realize
Oh, wow.
when theirs come true.
I've figured out some of it, but where's the fun in taking future readings when
Where
they can
is the
always change?
fun? Oh, don't be so silly. The future is set in stone.
Stone can be chipped.
She kind of pulls the shroud, the hood, down over her face. Unless there is anything else. I have grown tired.
What's the park called we're going to?
Insight Park.
Thank you. That'll be all.
It's one of the only green spaces in the lower city. I'm sure you'll be able to find your way.
Quickly out of character to you two. This job we're meant to be doing, like the bank robbery and stuff, was that meant to be done? Was any of them three things meant to be done tonight? Because I just don't know if we have time to go all the way back out and
Yeah,
all the way back in again.
I'm pretty sure that they did say it was tonight, which is why I was panicking a little when she was like, as soon as like
the
get it done
heist
immediately.
is the heist is tonight, so like 7 o'clock tonight. So that's like in 7-8 hours.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have time to get in and out.
Oh, you've got a whole day to kill.
Okay.
But don't you think we should go to the tailor first, then make our way to where Madam? Yeah.
Looking at a map,
I've also
we can drop our stuff off at the Elsong Tavern, like the nice fancy clothes, and then head down to the Inside Park.
One thing is, when we're getting these suits made, I'm just gonna say this out of character because it'll be faster and easier. We need to get my suit made the exact same as Ellis's because I am going to use disguise self as Ellis's twin.
I was literally about to say, do you want to have the same kind of body as mine, and then I was just gonna
be you and just keep my name. We're just twins.
Well, no.
Very good.
Slightly change it. Just get rid of your beard, and then we're sorted, right?
Fine, I'll get rid of the beard.
Can't be identical though. People will catch on.
Identical twins exist, you
I
dummy.
know, but we're gonna be able to,
Whoa, they shaved their beards to the exact same length. Yeah, no, that's good. No, that's a good plan. So are you going to go and find this tailor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you make your way over. You see this wood elf who's just kind of like calling out to people, kind of like, free tailoring. The clothes aren't free. The tailoring's free. Now bugger off then. And he kind of, he sees you passing by and he goes, free tailoring. He's not really looking at you, Samura, but he's looking at Anya and Eartha. Free tailoring.
Perfect. We're looking for you.
Why?
Are
you at the watch? It wasn't me.
The whiskey lady asked us to stop by.
You should open with that. Very good. He kind of jumps down and sits on the edge of the wagon. So, you're going to the party tonight, I take it?
Yes, we are.
Very good. Well, would you like custom outfits made, I can have them whipped up fairly quickly, or would you like to just have something altered to fit you?
Altered would be fine.
Very good.
For me,
What about you?
2 though.
2 for you. Interesting. Very good.
Thank you.
I would prefer tailored as well, please.
Tailored. Very good. Well, you guys can just kind of tell me. I won't go into bother. Like, I won't tell you exactly what materials he has. Just kind of. So you're going to like a fancy masquerade party. What kind of? Sorry, people are messaging me. Let me mute that quickly. Is there anything like? So Eartha, we'll start with you. What kind of fancy attire, like nice attire, would you like to have made twice, or would you like to have 2 different attires made?
I'm gonna leave that to Samura to decide what his is
Ah,
gonna
fair
be,
enough.
but I want mine
Very
just to
good.
be a nice black, just straight black, white top. I don't. Do they have ties or is it bow ties? I don't know.
Kind of like yeah. There's kind of equivalents like ascots and
Okay.
yeah. There's equivalent like neckerchiefs, kind of stuff like
Well,
that.
just a tie then.
I'll have mine the exact same as Ellis's, but I'll have like his equivalent of the tie. I'll have the opposite one, so that the equivalent of the tie tells us apart.
I imagine that Ellis, whatever, like your neckerchief or whatever, it'll probably be red. I imagine. So we'll say yours is like blue, Samura.
Yeah.
Anya, what kind of would you like some overalls or like a dress? What would you like to go for?
Anya would wear a dress, quite like a pirate style kind of dress.
I can picture it. Yeah, like a Victorian.
Yeah, probably that kind of style based on what she wears every day anyway. Probably.
So you don't want to sacrifice, like you don't want a dress that like sacrifices mobility or anything like that. You don't want anything that's like restricting your movement.
No.
Yeah, perfect. So I'll take that into What kind of colors? Just like plain like blacks and whites or browns or
Maybe not brown, but maybe just like white and cream.
Yeah, fair enough. Arnadalis kind of says to you like, I'll alter a few of these tuxedos and I'll alter this dress from last year's summer ball.
I have a
They'll be
question.
ready. Yes.
The bag of holding. What kind of style bag is it, and will it be able to blend in with the suit?
So it's kind of like it just looks like a kind of plain leather satchel. You would think it doesn't. It kind of looks like an Indiana Jones bag. You think it would go all right with the suit? Like it wouldn't look too bad with the suit.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Arnadalis tells you, I will. If the whiskey lady sent you, I will put these at the forefront of my thought. They will be ready for you to collect in. Oh bugger! The market will probably be closed. Where are you staying?
Elf Song Tavern.
The Elf Song Tavern. I'll have them dropped off at 5 o'clock.
Fine.
Thank you.
Very good. Enjoy the rest of your days and good luck tonight.
I want to shake his hand. I'm going to be polite. Shake his hand.
He outstretches a hand.
And then bugger off.
Yep. So would you guys like to look for anything else in the wide, or would you like to depart?
I think it's best that we see that Toramesh as soon as possible.
So it's just past midday, so it's about 1 o'clock.
Is there a chance just before we leave? Is there a chance I can get think I have enough money. Let me double check.
What are you looking for, buddy?
I should have a 50 gold piece or more, preferably 50 gold piece diamond.
I'll say you can find some. So for any of your spell components that like require a price, you would be able to buy them here. So like Jackson saying, a diamond worth 50 gold pieces. If any of your spells required anything like that, if you want to, I know. Obviously, I didn't mention that while you were doing this, so you might not have them ready. So I'll say retroactively, like we can move on and we can say you bought them here if you remember you need it in like 10 minutes or something. But yeah, you can just take off the money. You don't need to tell me necessarily. You can just deduct the money. You can find any spell components that have a material value,
Would I be
a
able to
monetary
buy
value.
some spears or javelins?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Looking in the book, they're a good 1 gold piece each.
Yeah, sure. Buy as many as you need. You can
I
totally
would
do
like 5, and I'm going to put them straight in the bag of holding.
that. Yeah, go for it.
Oh, actually, another thing. Would we be able to find a chisel and a hammer?
I'd say yeah. You can kind of find anything
How
here
much
for
would
the
a
most
chisel and
part.
hammer be? Or a few
What
chisels?
what are they listed at in the adventuring gear
Not a clue. I
option?
haven't looked. Just came
Well,
into my head now.
oh, I thought you had the book open.
No.
I'll just say it'll cost you like 2 gold pieces.
Okay. I'll just take that then. Thank you.
Very good. Itha, as you're walking away, you see this halfling lady with like dark, like black hair, like dark brown, almost black hair, kind of is like leaning on the edge of Arnadalis's wagon, and she addresses you, Itha, and says, "Oh, so you're going to the party tonight, huh?"
I'm gonna start like looking around, like behind me.
Very funny.
Try to be. Unfortunately.
Well, you're working with the guild, eh? I myself do some business with the guild. Can I interest you in any of my wares? And she kind of like, she has this rolled up bit of fabric that she puts on the floor and she kicks it along and it kind of unravels. And you just see like vials and bottles, of which you gather are poisons, uh, sitting along the floor. You look tough. You look like you know how to use these things. She kind of points some of them out. So she points out the first one, Assassin's Blood, which, if you want, you can just. So there's 2 types of poison and something else, a special thing. You can just Google these if you want to know the exact damage. There's Assassin's Blood, which is 150 gold pieces per dose. Drow Poison, 200 gold pieces per dose. And Truth Serum, 125 gold pieces per dose. Jess does have Zone of Truth, which does essentially the same thing, but it's a much more concentrated thing. She's just kind of looking at you like, my prices are high, but I assure you, they're worth it.
I'm afraid I don't have the money. But when I do, I'll come back and see what we can arrange then.
Very good. Well, and she kind of rolls it back up. You look for Jemima Greenbridge. And she nods and walks away. Very good.
That's it.
So are you guys making your way through the whole city? Did you say you were stopping off at the Elf Song?
Do we need to anymore?
No, because they
No.
said they were going to send them straight to the Elf Song Tavern, so I don't think we need to.
Yeah, so you leave the Wide, you make your way past the Unrolling Scroll again and through Baldur's Gate. You walk through the harbour and the docks, through most of the lower city, and you kind of, at the very, very like southern tip of Baldur's Gate, kind of just, you ask some people for directions, you find your way there. You find this nice, it's like a portion of hillside that slopes down towards the harbor. There's just these soft lawns and thickets, just this nice green space, and it's kind of, they're shot through with small recesses and tunnels. It looks very unnatural. It's very strange, just like this green rolling hillside, not like a huge space, probably like about the size of like a small, just imagine like a small park, with like these holes and tunnels that go through the ground and then come up again. And you see this massive tree in the center of the park, in like a position of pride. It's very like, you've never seen a tree like it before. It's like the roots go out at jagged angles, and the leaves at different parts of the trees are all different colors. It's just a very like beautiful tree. And you see this jutting rock at the back of the park, and like this rock formation, and kind of at the bottom of that rock formation is a hut, out of which the chimney, there's just like a small funnel of smoke dissipating up into the air above Baldur's Gate.
No, I'm no investigator, but I'm guessing that might be the place.
I would assume so, and I'm gonna start looking for an entrance.
Well, we won't know till we find out.
So you walk. Are you walking up to the hut?
Yeah.
So as you approach the hut, you kind of see this. You see like the smoke going up. This big rock. It almost looks like, you know, the Pride Rock in Lion King. It's like a very similar shape, like this big jagged rock that just sticks out the ground, but obviously a lot smaller. And kind of out front, you hear like a, and you just see this dwarven man, bald head, but grey, kind of grey hair at the sides, and this big grey beard. These kind of like this flowing green top, like unbuttoned at the front. You see all this like grey curly chest hair, and like these dark green pants and brown boots. He's kind of on his knees, just planting something, and then you see him stand and he dusts himself off, and you see he does something with his hand, and he's chanting some arcane thing, and out of the ground sprouts like this fully realized kind of bush that kind of crawls up the, like ivy that crawls up the side of his cottage, and he kind of turns around and goes, "Oh, can I help?"
Go ahead.
Yeah, Anya, you can go.
Are you Taramesh by any chance?
Aye, Toromesh. Can I help?
Well, Madame Eva sent us to see you. She didn't explain why, but she urged us to see you quickly.
That old bag. Hope she didn't con you with her phony readings. He looks around. He says, "Oh, I wish she'd stop sending people in the middle of the day." Right, come on then. And he starts just marching away from his house. And you kind of follow him on for a bit, and he's marching up to this big alien-looking tree. You notice as you kind of come underneath, some of the leaves aren't even shades of green. Some of the leaves are like reds and purples. And this tree is like, it's beautiful. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's just like what the branches wind in ways that trees wouldn't. The leaves don't follow normal color patterns. And you see he puts a hand against the tree. And do any of you know Dwarvish? The language?
I do.
Anya, it should be, there's a little box at the bottom left. It says languages and proficiencies. Is the word Dwarvish in there?
Or only Elvish.
No worries. So Eartha, you hear him say an apology in Dwarvish as he kind of strokes the bark of the tree, and he says he just says like, "I'm sorry. I only do this because I have to. Thank you for what you give. We are all very grateful. I am very grateful." And you see he kind of takes a carving knife out of his belt, and he starts to peel some of the bark. And strips like a section of bark, and before he pulls it, he looks back at you and says, "Who's first?"
I'll go first.
"What's your name, lad?"
Eartha.
"Arthur." And he kind of pulls the bark from the tree, and you see there's this like thick sap that's in between the bark and the tree, and it kind of like it's like pulling glue, like it wants to retain the bark, and it just and lets go of it. And you kind of catch a glimpse. He kind of looks into it as though it was like an open book, and you see like his eyes kind of go wide as he starts to read it. And you can't see it properly, but you kind of like try to take a look at it, and you see the sap is almost moving in a way that it looks like something's happening, like it's depicting something, but you can't quite get a look at it. And he's looking straight into it, and he kind of raises it in front of you and says, "I see a man similar in many ways to yourself. No, sorry. I've gotten myself confused. He says I was reading the wrong one. He says, I see two children, twins, not yet born. They weep, as newborns do, but I see why they really cry. Their futures are decided. And you see, like, his eyes kind of fog over for a minute as he kind of, like, takes in a deep breath and he looks up at the leaves of a tree. And his voice almost doesn't sound like his own for a second. And he says, but perhaps you, son of fallen Simbar, will be enough to dissuade the powers that be. And he kind of pulls himself free from it. That is all I see. And he kind of chucks the bark at the ground and it hits the ground like a wet, as it sits on like the grass. And he kind of waves his hands again in the grass, and the peat kind of just eats it and takes it into the ground. He takes out the carving knife again and begins to do the same thing. Who's next?
I'll go.
What's your name?
It's a samurai.
Samura. He does the same thing, repeats the same process. I see you alone. You stand in a vast emptiness, a desert of purple sands. You're afraid, and why shouldn't you be? The wind is rising, and with it, the still purple sands become a torrent that blocks even the sun. That's all I see. Does the same thing, flings it into the grass, and some of the plants grow up to consume it and take it into the earth. Repeats the same thing, carves a bit of the bark. What's your name, girl?
Yeah.
Anya. Peels it. I see a man, similar in many ways to yourself. He's a free spirit, that much I can tell. Though it seems he is to be swallowed by the purple dragon, never to return to the place you both called home. A shame. He hasn't yet said his goodbyes. And he kind of drops that one meekly, and the grass eats it. That's all I see. Are we done here, or is there anything else?
She just said what we've told you. If you think we're done, we must be.
Did she tell you what? Oh, she didn't. He kind of leans back and he strokes the tree for a second. This is the drawing tree. I used to be a traveller. Went all over the place, and I brought the sapling that became this beauty back. And now only I can treat it in the right way. And I received visions. I don't understand them. Perhaps you will. I don't know the words that I say. I remember them, but I don't know their meanings. I hope they guide you well. So, I'll fare you well now, eh?
Thank you for your time.
Very good. And you kind of see he looks like uncomfortable. If you're religious, make an insight check. With advantage, actually.
That first one was better. 13. No, 23.
23.
I'm gonna get 13 when I had 16. I got a +7.
If you've seen the kind of the look he has on his face as he's kind of backing away from you guys, you've seen this exact look before. Your mother, you learned kind of combat from your dad, but your mum was always very talented with divination magic. And you've seen this exact look on her face like a million times before when she's cast a divination spell and she's learned something that's dire, that's like she really wished she didn't. Like she learns something that's like quite important, and she knows she has to follow up on it, and she can't just let it go. He's kind of got this look on his face where he's like, there's something weird here. Like you think that whatever these words mean, he thinks there's quite a lot of weight in them, and they are quite important.
All right.
As he's walking away, he just kind of says, he doesn't stop. He just kind of shouts it as he's walking away. He says, "The children of prophecy don't live very long." And he walks back to his
I wanna
quiet cottage.
I wanna look straight at Samurai and just go, "How old do you live? What's your age span?"
About 30.
Yeah, he's right.
Well, you're a wizard. Wizards typically live hundreds of years.
Doesn't matter.
But yeah.
You're dying.
So are you guys just planning on? Is there anything else you want to do before you go to the elf song and wait for your attire to arrive, or are you guys just gonna head back?
I want to go to. Ooh, I can't remember its name. To Riverland's magic shop.
Yeah, sure. What for?
I just want to go tell them that we've done one of the jobs.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I was. Yeah, that's not too big. So you kind of make your way through. You unfortunately leave the nice green space that is Insight Park. As you kind of enter the kind of dreary lower city of Baldur's Gate again, it's a bit like, oh, this is a lot less nice. But you find Sorceress Sundries. Again, this nice round building with this stained glass dome on the roof. You walk in, and like these cascades of light are just shooting down at you from the stained glass above. And Riverland, actually, I don't think I did this last time. Can everyone make a perception check?
12.
8.
I've got a lot of maths to do. Give us a second.
That means high.
Help?
30.
Can we make a
something.
rule that if it's above 30, just say 30? Because I feel like there's no point in being higher.
Yeah.
Well, my minimum is 20, so as long as I
Eartha,
roll over 10.
you noticed something you didn't notice last time. Rivelin is wearing these like strange leather gloves. They don't look very fashionable. They don't look very comfortable. They just kind of catch your attention as you're walking in. But yeah, Samura. Yeah, Rivelin is kind of like he's kind of noting. So he's kind of looking at one of his shelves with potions in it, and he's kind of taking some stock as you enter. And he goes, "Ah, you're back already. The armor isn't ready."
It's not that. I just came back to just reconvince that we are willing and are going to do these jobs. We've actually already done the one with Madam Eva.
That explains that. And you see the magic contract. You can kind of see it laid out on his on the counter, and you kind of take a glance at it, and you can kind of see one of the tasks has a strike through it. Very good. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I hope it was nothing too trying.
Mentally, but nothing physical.
It's like that with Eva. Yeah. Well, I thank you very much. Again, your armor should be ready tomorrow, hopefully. Maybe later, but I doubt it. I think I should be able to get it done for tomorrow. I already have the armor. Just I need to finish up some inventory for the day, and then I will do the enchantment tomorrow morning, I hope. But yeah. Thank you again. Would you like to take a look around while you're here, or are you in a crunch?
We have some planning to do, so unless anybody else wants something, I'm okay.
Very good.
I'm good.
Fine, thank you.
No worries. Good job. We're friends, huh? So just come by tomorrow, and if you're ever in Baldur's Gate after we conclude our business, feel free to stop by. And he kind of shouts, "Gilligan, go go check upstairs. And his rock gnome apprentice climbs up some ladders and shouts something down in gnomish. And yeah, they just go back to their day. Are you guys anything else, or back to the elf song?
Just back to the elf song for me.
Yep. Then we will call it a week there, and we'll pick up next week.